This is Eagle 7 Sports Radio, 90 minutes with mathematical. I hope you enjoyed that editorial. My guest is here, my brother. I call him Platini, Michel Platini Obi, a quintessential administrator and journalist. Well, he's a first-class journalist. Everybody knows that. And past president of the IAPS Africa. It's my pleasure always to have you in the studio. Platini, good morning. This morning we are discussing something that I'm sure would be of tremendous interest to you. Elections are just around the corner into sports federations in Nigeria. These things happen from time to time, and every time they happen, it's like they give us hope that with new administrators in place, things will change. But it appears that the constant is the lack of change. But anyway, now I can see your face. Say hello to Nigerians. Good morning again. Platini, Michel, former player. Not many people know that you actually played football too.
Yeah, but not at your level. I think that echo is not helping us. But then, thank you very much, mathematical Big Shag, and it's good to see you back. And as the children have insisted, I think you are refreshed now, and it's good to see you going.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
In this season of hope.
Yeah, so, and then the grays look beautiful on you. I wish I could keep those grays myself.
Yeah, sometimes it's difficult to keep. You want to insist on it, not really changing the facade, as they say, of the real person. Sometimes you need to keep them, but it's difficult to keep, I can tell you that.
Yeah, so, Michel, we are discussing this morning federation elections, and I don't really know where to start. But you see, historically, for some reason, I'm just speaking off the cuff now, not from what I've prepared. Yes. This morning I was just thinking that, do you know that we have been around for such a long time? You and I. In this system.
Sometimes I marvel as well too when I look back at some of the things I wrote far back in 1983, 84, and I ask myself, am I in another climb? Am I in another planet? Why am I still writing these same things? Why am I still doing this? You want to even hit yourself hard that things have not changed the way you want them to change, and perhaps that's the makeup of life as experienced. And I listened to your beautiful editorial where you situated the forces of change trying to find a place. And it's not always easy, especially in Nigeria, where from independence, our sports has had a permanent feeder. Indeed, we've been fed by government in all dimensions of our sports, and going through that whole process, it's been so difficult to extract ourselves and find our liberation in quotes. But so I've come to the ultimate conclusion that we have to accept this reality and then design and depict the government on a special plate. Indeed, we call them as a special stakeholder so that we can always have them there and then do what we have to do to meet with the rest of the world. That is my position. I saw what you tried to capture in 2006, the forces, and when you mentioned the director of sports then, the all-powerful Amos Adamu, and I asked myself that this was a gentleman I spotted in the course of the first ever intercollegiate games. That's what we organized in 1990.
Wow.
Where we decided to professionalize the sports ministry and said, how do we bring professionals into the sports ministry? And we looked at the whole Nigerian scene and decided to use the schools as the base. And what did we do? We said we had to get the best of Nipoga, that's the polytechnics, the best of Nasega, that's the College of Education, and the best of universities, that's NUGA. And then we looked at the schools who were dominant in this bracket and got the directors of sports there to come and manage sports at the zonal levels. Adamu was in Sokoto, I think the College of Education. He was the president of Nasega College of Education. And we got Tijani Ahmed from Ahmadu Bello. There was Yusuf Abdurrahman from Yaba Tech. All of them like that. We wanted to professionalize the sports ministry. We didn't last long. And even we were running faster than our shadow because we knew the times were changing times. It was a period of transition where everybody was saying Babangida should hand over. So we said, if we're going to keep some of the things we're going to do in sports, we had to ensure that they were not only canonized or, what you call today as laws, but also made to endure. That's why if you look at football today, the law that is even governing football, even when it was adjusted, it's yet to even be adjusted. The only adjustment that was made has been the one that has kept it till date. We had two documents, Decree 10 and Decree 11. These were documents that gave professional football to Nigeria in 1990. And good enough, Shege, you were I will say you were the entrepreneurs of that document. You were the engineers. I remember the great Chief Femi Olukomi. I remember Ato Kwame. These were individuals who pushed for professional football to start in Nigeria, and you were among even that gang at the initial phase to get professional football. You went to UK, gathered we read everything and tried to synthesize, and we came out with those two documents. Independence for the league. Indeed, if you look at that document today, 35 years after that document came to place, you will say that if we had kept even 10% of that document, football today in Nigeria will have been something else. More than the UK wouldn't have even competed with us in terms of what that document had. And then the Football Association, the NFA, it was known then, also had its own independence. And we said, come out of the stadium. Football cannot be managed from the stadium. Go to where it matters. Go to the city. Go to the corporate world. And we remember that the NFA had a building in the past owned by NFA. I ask myself today, that building, if you retouch that building, make it the headquarters, the corporate headquarters of football in Nigeria, in Nigeria's most commercial city, you can understand how football will take a transformation. But nobody is thinking about it. They say they are building the hostel and the property in Ogulana Drive, the heart of Sulere. You were there. You had an office there as well when you were a board member. Indeed, this second vice president, I can't remember, chairman it was then, they used to call them. But that's the makeup of where we have come from. And that document was corrupted. When Chief Akinyele came, along with Amos Adamu, they corrupted that document. They merged those two documents, and that's where we are today. Decree 10 and Decree 11, they made it Decree 101. Bringing back football to government and giving government to be the last word on football, especially the ministry or the sports commission. That's where we are today. And but some of the ingredients in our document are still there. How many people get to read it? How many people get to use it? Indeed, I said to myself that we have a country where those who read don't lead, and those who lead hardly read.
Michel, well, I like that historical excursion that you just made there. Some people just think also that Decree 10 and 11 were actually the foundation of crisis in Nigerian sports. That's the feeling of some people. But anyway, which way?
1 year after that document, in 1991, the document they were merged.
Yes. But every inch of the way, it was government directing affairs. Even in bringing people to the ministry, as Decrees 10 and 11 did, you brought people and brought them to the ministry, and that's government. Government still went on to control. So from then till now, the struggle, the crisis, the confusion has been the power or the struggle for power between government and those you intended should take over, the private people. You wanted to give autonomy to the federations to go out and be
not that we wanted,
or how was it?
A big check. Not that we wanted. We gave autonomy. It's not that we wanted. That document was signed on the day professional football started, and I remember the president, he was on his way out of the country. We had to ambush him at is it the airport, and he said, Tony, this document you want me to sign, are you sure this is okay? We said yes. That day, stationary stores were played. Is it the opening game of the professional football in Nigeria at the Onikon Stadium in 1990? It was stores against Iwayawu National, I remember, something like that. Yes. That game was played even before the document got signed. But so, we gave independence.
So if you gave independence...
Secretary of the league in Nigeria had nobody interfering with him. NFA, as it was then, under Yusuf Ali, was a private sector. We gave them independence.
But government was still funding.
1 year after that. Government
was still effectively funding.
They had to stimulate. Somebody needed to stimulate. Somebody needed to engender a process. And that's why I tell you in my preface in this discussion, I said over the years, from independence till date, I've seen the hand of government so strong, and I've decided that the only way we can manage that hand is to find a place to place it and then do the business the way it's done elsewhere. And then government, as a veritable stakeholder, can have a place as a stakeholder, but not as a majority stakeholder.
Okay.
I mean, it's a decision that can be taken.
Okay. I was there in 1990. I was there shortly before then. I was there after. And realistically, do you think that sports, even from the way it was at the time, could have survived independent of government from what you saw there? I was there, and I knew that, yes, there was autonomy handed over to this group of people who were supposed to go out, but there were no funds coming in from anywhere. There was no way the federations
the good
could
thing was the mix. The mix from the private sector and the mix from government. You were there. And when we started the Professional Football League, look at it. You will see how many private clubs were there. Even the ones that were government-owned still had a high dose of private touch. The Shooting Stars, for instance, you had the Chief Lekon Salami who understood the game as business, even though once in a while he will evoke a government. Rangers of who was the then chairman, I remember. But Rangers over time has evolved as a private club. They were there.
It was evolving. It was evolving. Like Shooting Stars was evolving, but they never succeeded. They still had, everybody still had to go back to government. So just in your introduction this morning, I thought you nailed it on the head, because I didn't think about this simple solution that you have just preferred now. That, look, no matter what we do, let us compartmentalize something for government within the setup. Government must be there. This clamor for independence, autonomy has failed over and over. They want government to divest itself of any participation, but they can't survive. Look at all the federations now. Which federation can survive without government in Nigeria, including the NFF? Let's look at it from that perspective.
Extract it, big check. Extract it even from football. Take yourself away from football. Look at even Nigeria. If you look at even Africa, the richest man in Africa, is there no dose of government in all his businesses? The richest men in Nigeria, how do they make their money? Is it not government? Even our banks, where we say are a quintessential private sector, when they declare profit and it's money put there by government. So government is the biggest business in Nigeria. We all know that. That's the reality. And let nobody pretend. I'm ready to take anyone on a debate, because what we have seen over time is that the hand of government is so strong. And so let's see where we can situate government, professionalize our operations, give government a certain role, and then do things the way it's done. Perhaps that's the way time has shown us how to do it or where to go. For me, it's a crystallization of my deep thinking, how to really get government off direct control.
Okay, beyond government, let us look at this issue that has been troubling me for so long. You know, there was a time when the board of the NFF, all the members of the NFF were just appointed by government. You just heard your name on radio.
Yes, I remember those days. Even the chairman of the FA then, it's all radio. And there was a time it was like Air Force will be in football. Navy will be some other sport. There was a time like that.
Yeah, that was the military race. Yes,
but things were being done well. To be fair.
Yeah. So
there was merit. There was excellence.
So I'm just saying that there was a period when the constitution of all those boards was done on radio. You just heard your name and you're a member of the board, and the chairman is announced and all of that. Then we had a period. We had a period also where some kind of representation existed. They looked at School Sports Federation. They brought the president there. They looked at the private sector people. They brought to look on me from there. They looked at the armed forces. They brought people from there. They looked at coaches and so on. There was some kind of representation.
Let me give you the genesis of that. From 1972, when the National Sports Commission law was reviewed, there was a white paper, the Williams white paper.
Yes.
We read all those papers. And before 1990, when we came on board, there had been so many different papers put into how elections can be held, how federations can be managed independently, and all of that. And the big point then was that there was no guiding policy, Big Sheikh. So for the first time ever, we had to codify some of those documents. In Makurdi, I remember all the commissioners of sport had to sit down for 1 week, and we came out with a sports development policy. That was the first. It didn't just end at a sports development policy. We had to find another session. We came out with a guideline for the implementation of the sports development policy. And it didn't stop there. We had to come out again with the strategy for the implementation again of the sport. And it didn't end there. We formed a team of commissioners to do what you call an inventory of sports facilities in Nigeria. That document is still there. The whole of Nigeria. There is an inventory of sports facilities, both in the universities, in the cities. There is an inventory. It's there. And inside those documents, we had the modalities for election. That is where all these representations came in. And they said these are some of the key stakeholders in sports: the military, the
coaches, the referees, the NAFA, the school sports,
women,
women, and so on.
Even Swan had a representation.
Well, there were at a time there were 14 members of the board. And
14, yeah.
Yes, and when I was first brought onto that board, I was the players' representative on the board. And all that happened was that the board met at its inaugural meeting. There was no chairman, there was nothing. And right there and then, no campaign. People just nominated each other, and we voted secret ballot voting, and we appointed our chairman. And then it was announced. It was the most inexpensive, the most authentic election that I have seen. No campaign, no fees, no nomination.
The good thing was that once those names were announced, among those whose names were announced, you could feel within you who could likely become the chairman.
Exactly.
That was the joy in that setting.
Exactly. And then there came a time when they tried also that, look, the composition of every constituency is such that everybody is represented. In the states, for example, you found
Yes.
the small group. The coaches are there, the referees are there, the clubs are there. So everybody. So every state had an association made up of all those members. So when they choose their own leader there, he could just come to the national, and all of that means he's representing everybody. You could have an election or whatever it is.
Some had an election. Some had elections. It was very keen elections.
So those were
I know some elections into some of the associations were very, very intense.
But all of these things came to an end when Galadima came in. The same process, he came in through that same old process of government
nominee. He was a government nominee.
Yes, you know, and all of that. And then, he read through some of your documents and was seeking autonomy for the NFF because he knew after the failure of the Eagles to go to the World Cup that there was no way he could come back. It was an unwritten rule that was
you remember the bet rights? The bet rights.
Yes.
It was not our bet right.
The government. Well, Adamu was not going to let him come back, and he was bent on coming back. And he was a very smart and very intelligent man. And he looked at the laws, the constitution of that NFA, and got experts within the group, the NFA body, to redesign and amend the constitution in such a way that it took away control from the government. That's where all the states associations came into being, and the manipulation started, the campaign started,
what you need to say there is that they had a godfather, and that godfather was the supreme body of football globally.
Yes, because that's the first time they would bring in, because it's scripted in FIFA even in the NFF document. The first article says it's a private organization, and FIFA frowns against government intervention. So all he did was just invite FIFA to say we are conducting our affairs and government is interfering. And that was where all the crisis began.
Where we brought those two documents, those two decrees, Decree 10 and Decree 11, now we sent it to FIFA. You know the response that came from FIFA? Oh, this is a very good document. But one thing you have to do is we have to insert into it that the Football League was an affiliate of the Nigerian Football Association. That was the only comment. I still have that in my flimsy. That was the only comment FIFA gave, the only advice FIFA gave, that the Football League should respect the Football Association as the body recognized by FIFA.
And anyway, that document had to pass through the Nigeria Football Association for FIFA to accept it, because otherwise they will consider it a government paper. Anyway, so here we are, all these years, and we have concocted all kinds of arrangements. We have now,
now you really excite my imagination. It was because of football that the Sports Commission was scrapped. I'm giving this an information many people don't know. It was because of football that the National Sports Commission was scrapped in 1990. Because for us to get football as a professional endeavor in Nigeria, the law that was governing sports had brought all sports under the control of the Sports Commission under a decree, the decree of 1972. And they said another decree cannot happen except that decree was either dissolved or amended.
Wow. I never knew this at all, because I've always wondered.
It was a guarded thought within the inside circle, and the Sports Commission, because Sports Commission brought all sports under its control, anything sports in Nigeria, and the sports under the Sports Commission was amateur sports.
Yeah.
So if you wanted to do professional football, you needed to tweak the law that set up the Sports Commission. And he had to go. And that's why when some people came after, they were still pretending that they were running sports under the commission. I was laughing. I had the document. I had the gazetted scrapping of the decree of setting of the Sports Commission. But then, what do we know? What have we seen? What has changed? Even now, you talk about the Sports Commission, renewed Sports Commission. Nothing has changed. Don't be surprised. We'll go back to the Sports Ministry. I'm saying this on your show because the big hope has become the big hole.
And the independence can truly not be achieved.
Where is it? What drive can you see that something different is coming on? That is the feel. The expectation too high, and now we're asking ourselves, where are the people? Where are the angels? I told them, I said, nobody was going to run a new sports commission. It's the same people who have been there that will run it. And now we are beginning to see that it is it was a nomenclatural change.
We have a situation where we're talking football now, state football associations that used to have one representation on the board of the Nigeria Football Association in terms of not just membership, but vote. There was a time.
Congress. That's the Congress.
Just one representation. All of them would select their own, and they called him chairman of chairmen.
Yes.
To a point now, since 2006, where we have 37 of them. 37 of them from the states, all politically appointed or selected. Very few were actually elected genuinely. And they have now taken over control of sports and sports development in Nigeria. If you are not from that constituency, one constituency, then you stand no chance of becoming president of any federation. That is where we are.
It reminds me politically of the Governors Forum.
That's where we are. One constituency expanding to become 37.
Chairman of a football association, state football association, decide the leadership and even the future of the game. And if they are compromised, and very easy to compromise, because 37 of them, that number is, if the majority of that number is 18 or what? 18. If you have 20 of them,
it's finished.
You have football in your pocket.
But the argument is that that's just a constituency. They are not even a member of the NFF. They are an administrative
an aspect, a constituency, as you rightly put it. It's supposed to be a constituency of the game.
Exactly.
There are other critical stakeholders who have been not
sidelined completely.
They've been shunned. Yes, that's the word. They've been shunned away from what belongs to them.
And
over time,
it cannot be reversed.
That's why they don't want to touch the document.
Yeah.
Can you believe, Shege, that there was a law that amended the Nigerian Football Federation? That law was passed by the House of, just like the Sports Commission law, was brought to the table of the SY President Buhari. Nobody pushed it. When Sunday Dare came in as sports minister, he looked at the document, he stayed away. Just for the president to sign, we will have been having a new dispensation in football administration. At least, if nothing else, to domesticate the statutes which we use, the one they have in Zurich and the one they have in Abuja. You know, there are two documents running Nigerian football. The one in, although they say they stay with the ones in Zurich, and the money comes from the one in Abuja, because it's treated as a parastatal, which is what it is, but going by the law, that set it up.
There is no equity in representation in the electoral college or electorates for the board of the Nigeria Football Association. It is a very expensive venture now, because we were working from answer to question. We started to design processes and introduce articles to suit particular agenda.
Yes.
And so we started screening, started nominating, going around the country to get nomination forms, paying huge sums of money to buy forms, campaigning publicly, having debates, and over a federation election. And we just infected all the other federations, and we have chaos and confusion in the administration and development of sports in this country. Those issues have to be revisited, have to be articulated properly and discussed. And the only body to discuss them is the National Sports Commission, because it's the supervisory body. The body itself, by law, should have a board. It should have a board of different stakeholders who are discussing sports. Now we have two people who are running it, two good people who are running it with very good passion, good intentions, and so on. But there's no proper articulation, experience,
the language is that
vision.
Is the board very critical to the operation of the commission? That is the language I hear from different corners. And the law itself that set up the sports commission envisaged a representation from all these individuals, even if they are to meet twice in a year, which is what they tell us.
Yes.
That the law says they can meet twice in a year. Let us see those who are supposed to be there, let them be there.
So they can sit and discuss the policies.
Because the only voice we are hearing now is voices from two individuals, and it's like monotonous. It doesn't reflect the different tendencies or inclinations of our sports firmament. We need to do better than that. And I have said it. I've told those guys, get this thing going. In short, they will have done it a long time ago, since they came in. And that law, even setting up the sports commission, needs to be revisited, because it makes that commission look, if you look at the mandate given to them, the sports economy mandate, and you look at the law setting up that sports commission, they are at variance. Indeed, you cannot achieve that mandate. But it's just 2 years. After 2 years, we'll be asking questions to President Tinubu, what has happened to your sports mandate? Questions will be asked. It will be part of the voting agenda.
It's just been so refreshing. We have just gone outside of everything that I prepared this morning, because the subject is such that it is, what's that word now? Anyway, so we are looking at how we want to go forward, because elections are just around the corner. And what we have used, the formula we have used, the processes we have used through the past 3 decades at least, have not yielded the right harvests. So what can we do differently? My thought, just my initial thought, is that we should reduce the burden of these elections. People carrying forms all over the place to go and get nomination here and there. People paying huge sums of money to buy forms because they want to contest for. We politicize. We just turned it into partisan politics. People now campaigning vigorously, going to people's rooms to go and give them envelopes and so on and so forth. We must find a way to stop all of this. It must stop. And taking elections to various states, strategic states that would influence the elections and, promote corruption within the assembly of those who are going to conduct elections, because those are the things that are happening. The initial law governing elections in those was that it has to hold in the headquarters of the federation and in the federal capital city of that. Everybody just go there, and amongst a small number of people, represent equal representation of each of the constituencies. You don't have a huge audience, and you elect. It's very simple. Why can't we get a simple way of electing our president? I don't understand. You answer the question.
Yes, go ahead.
No, I don't know why we can't make it simple and inexpensive and transparent.
Simple,
and
simple
safe.
Could be beautiful. If you keep it simple, it could be beautiful. And why not? But this elaboration, has taken another color, and I think that's where the problem comes in, where the corruption seeps in, and it doesn't really help the picture. Under this dispensation, the renewed National Sports Commission, we have seen an election, and it didn't go down well. The acrimony even before and after the election, shows that we've not gotten it right, as you rightly painted. The Athletics Federation of Nigeria. What really has changed from what you are trying to unearth in terms of how we are not coming close to getting our federations on the right footing, ensuring that those who are passionate, those who understand the sports, those who can even contribute and add to the vision are not part of it. From the Athletics Federation of Nigeria election, it's just told you that it's the same of the same.
Yeah.
Plus ça change, plus ça reste la même. Nothing really has changed. And so the other elections, okay, how do elections hold? You will say that some of the federations now have their own constitution. So let's follow those constitutions for elections, because these constitutions were approved by their global bodies. And so there are some that will be organized by the Sports Commission in conjunction even with where is even the Nigerian Olympic Committee? They are supposed to provide the impartiality. You know, they are the ones who are supposed to come in as the neutrals.
With what authority? With what authority would they do that? Who are they? Are they not part of the same system? What are you talking about?
They derive the strength from the same source. So you ask yourself, well, we even need to start with them, of course. What is the Olympic Committee in Nigeria? In other climes, is the Olympic Committee that really governs or runs
those bodies, FIFA and co, would never come. Look, FIFA and
let's
co.
Let's even look at what we have and try to see what can be done. The starting point, this Sports Commission, when they came, I said, look, zonalize this commission, zonalize it. Nigeria, we have seen, even the president who came in looked at the Development Commission. He decided to create zonal development.
Now you are going the old route of politicizing it again. You are saying zonalize. When the law clearly states just form a board where you have the major stakeholders in that board.
Even when you have a board, in terms of operation, you are talking about
that's different.
It is to go around.
Yeah, that's different.
Nationwide. The war chest, for you to do an election now, especially a football election in Nigeria, your war chest must be something to behold. That is what we are saying. Yeah. How do you cut those kind of costs?
How do you remove? How do you remove?
Contest to be part of a board, a federation. You know what it takes. When you get in there, what will you do?
We've had rich people. We've had rich people. We've had
coming to do.
Look, we've had rich people become president. We've had powerful people in industry become president. We've had politicians become president. None of them had ever come to use his money to run the federation.
Yes.
So why bring it? You don't need, you need people who are genuine, people who have a clear vision, people who are strategic, people who have passion. Of course, you have to have passion. You don't need the rich people. You don't need to bring a Dangote to come and be president of Nigeria Football Federation because he's a rich person and he will not steal money.
They wanted to draft. There was a time they wanted to draft Dangote, and I said, what's
he bringing
to the game?
He's not going to use his money to run the game.
Yeah, he needs to support the game, but not run the game. You have individuals who can give this game all the dimensions that will make it not only profitable but sustainable, and that's what we need. People with the right vision and people who can actualize their vision. Yes, and there are so many in this country for different sports.
And but, so many people live off.
Give it to
so many people now live off the federations. People live off the federations. Can you believe? We went to one World Cup, and every state, every president or chairman of every state football association was at the World Cup. That's 37 people from the Nigeria football. They were all at the World Cup. That's huge. It's a huge burden, financial burden. Why do you want to have such a thing? So
Shege, let's go concrete now. At least for some of our listeners.
Okay, go ahead.
What do we need to do to ensure that we have an election that can enable the federation to make a difference? And those are the elements we need to bring up.
I agree with you. And we are asking the public to call. You can call us now and participate in it. And to remind everybody that we have a body on ground. We have the National Sports Commission on ground, which is the supervisory body for sports in Nigeria. We cannot do without them. They have to provide the guidance, because no matter what you
set up, and there's an electoral committee already in place. It's been set up.
Electoral committee for what?
For elections, yes.
So for every federation.
Elections are due. They are due. The elections are coming up. There's an electoral committee. I think I remember some colleagues who are members, lawyers there in the electoral committee, who is even the chairman. I think I can get that information. But an electoral committee has already been set up by the Sports Commission.
One electoral committee to supervise all the elections.
Federations whose elections can be managed by the Sports Commission. There are others who follow their own constitutional guidelines, and those ones are along Congress dictates. They can do their own election. But for those federations that need the Sports Commission, those whose constitution have not been approved, there is an electoral committee already in place now. I think I don't know, have they been inaugurated? I can't even remember, but I've lost the kind of zeal to look at, because nothing changes in my estimation. So I don't really follow it as intimately as it should be. But there's an electoral committee in place. And what would you say? How do they even stay faithful to even the electoral guidelines? That's the first, most important thing.
We have a caller, but the line is, there's an echo in that line. I don't know if we can take him. Good morning. Hello? Hello?
Hello?
Yes. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Yes.
Yeah, this Mr. Otobiro Maxwell from Sango.
Okay. Mr. Maxwell from Sango. Go ahead.
Very well, Mr. Debami, honestly, and Mr. Mitchell. People are saying the truth, but the government you are having and the people who are having at the helm of our affairs there, they will not listen. I wish people like you people will take this federation and go this time, because you know the game, you know everything about it, you know the intricacies. I'm very surprised that this protection cannot to handle. I'm telling you, people like you and people are superb. You people know the onions in this game. I wish people will come up, please. We are not happy with what is happening in our football, in particular. We are not happy. Look at World Cup now. It's likely that we are not going to World Cup again, just because of mismanagement of the organization. Please, people should not be just sitting down like this. Make a move. Two of you make a move, please. I'm begging.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Max. You see, what I observe, Platini, this is totally outside the script of what I planned them. What I observe in Nigerian sports generally is that there's so much confusion. It's like, the knowledge pool in Nigerian sports is so limited that everybody is an authority on the subject, and yet nobody is an authority on the subject. And we just
that's a simple explanation. The literature on Nigerian sports, its management, its operation, of course, its heritage is so deep, but very few people read. They just chorus what they hear, and they say they're authorities. A lot of them just sit down, watch satellite TV, and the next day they are authority. They're doing comparative analysis with what they have seen or heard, or that's what it is. The literature on Nigerian sports is so deep, Big Sheikh. Some of the things you have written over the years, you will marvel if you codify some of those thoughts. You will marvel at what you have, and how many people do read all of that. I don't even want to go into it. I remember when I was in the ministry as special advisor, when we started looking at some of the documents. I told you about Godwin Kienka's book on sports administration. That was the only book that had the complete report of the 1972 Williams Gray white paper. We couldn't find it in any other library except Godwin Kienka's book of sports administration. That's where we had the white paper, 1972 white paper, which you use.
Well, let's take this call. Hello?
Yes.
Hello? Hello? It's gone. Platini, look, I have been in this system for such a long time. I have been an athlete. I have been an administrator.
You were even close to becoming NFA chairman. I remember.
I have been an athlete manager. I've managed
second vice chair, and you had everything there. No. To be fair and sincere, you were given the opportunity to change some of the things, and even at club level, you've managed shooting stars. So many things you are supposed to have changed.
What I'm just saying,
time,
what I'm saying with all humility is that, look, even as I sit here with all my experiences, which you cannot buy in the marketplace, and you cannot find it easily anywhere. With all my experiences, I tell you, even as I sit here, I don't have the answer. I cannot claim to say I know what will work and what will not work in the confusion in which everything is. I have been at so many committees, probably in more committees than anybody else in this country. And at every committee meeting and conversation, and you just find it's all confusion. There's no clear path.
I stopped responding to any committees 10 years ago. I say if you appoint me to any, I don't go.
So in effect, what I'm saying is that, look, we need a conversation, a proper conversation, not with too many people, to now put together a very simple process and structure and agenda that will make us take off. Because we are not leaving the ground at all with everything that we are doing now. We've set up an electoral...
Keep it simple, Shege. Keep it simple. A short action plan.
Hello. Good morning.
This is what we want to do.
Good morning.
Let's go out and do it, as Nike will say. Just do it.
Good morning.
Platini, let's take this call. Let's take this call.
Even all this conversation, we don't need time.
Yeah. Good morning. Good morning.
The things to be done are there. They are glaring.
You see what happened there?
Platini, wait, hold on. Yeah. Okay. Go on.
Hearing me?
Yes, I can hear you. I hope Platini can hear you.
You see the people at the rims of their affairs that are supposed to be there. As you are talking now, we know you know the right thing. All of you know the right thing to do. But the government would like to supersede it. They would like to do people to be there. If they allow people to be at the rims of their affairs, things will be okay. The government attention that all my people to be out. That's the problem we are having in this country. Let me see for the people that know the in and out of things. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Platini, I was saying that, look, we have a National Sports Commission on ground. My own advice is that, look, we should be humble. There are only two people there. They have their own vision, good vision, which is okay. But they need to have other voices and not think that other voices are, envious of what they're doing, or, they want them out or something like that. We need something. We need a platform. And I think it is in that law that they should constitute that board. You don't need people like us, but from other, different critical stakeholders, let them reconstitute it and start a proper conversation, a new conversation, because these are new people, they are young people, of the right age.
It's overdue for whatever board, for whatever design of board they want. That is overdue. They need to have 1,000 voices to contend. But for me, it's not even about even having that board. The way I see it now, there are things that need to be done, critical areas that need to be attended to.
Okay, go ahead.
If you come up with a short action plan and you sell this action plan to the general stakeholders, they will see it and they will follow you.
I agree.
It's almost a year this government came to, this dispensation came. I expected by 1 year of this commission, they are showing us a new look Abuja Stadium where we can play our national team matches. I've told you it's time for action. It's not time for conversation. The things to be done are needed to be done. Nigeria cannot have only one stadium recognized by FIFA. For a country that hosted the World Cup under 20, that was the second biggest FIFA event, under 17, and now we want to host the Commonwealth Games, which will put a bid in 2010 for 2014. And I'm saying that things need to be done. Even the management of the sports facilities, which have been left abandoned over time. These are action areas, Brush again.
I agree.
Conversation board and all was not all this travel, whole one competition today and all. No. Okay, they are good. Sports festival, they are getting host of sports festivals in advance, which is a very positive thing to do. That enables those states now to start getting their facility. I want to see work. I want to see work all around. Nobody's working.
I agree.
Nobody's working.
I think we should change the focus from competitions to development. And part of the strategy for development.
I told Shehu, the first thing you do, get on the. Has he gone around the country? He will say he has all the information about the country, but you need to practically see what is on ground and start determining which direction. After that, I expected him to come down, sit down, and tell the gentlemen in the sports commission, we have seen what we have seen. This is the time for us to start work. This is where we are going this time. We'll focus on infrastructure. Okay, in terms of even the associations, we look at the elections, ensure that the right people are there. We give them our vision. It's not rocket science. These things are not rocket science. These are individuals who can lead, and they gave hope. In a season of hope, they gave hope.
This is Eagle 7 Sports Radio, reaching you from Wasimi. You haven't been to Wasimi yet, you this man. Reaching you from Wasimi.
I passed through. You told me the roads. I hope the governor is working on that road. Every governor is doing roads now.
Yeah. He
has to do that road for us.
No,
the road to Ota from to connect Abeokuta from that axis.
Yeah, the road.
We are in the Arepo side, so it's easy for us to go left instead of going your right.
Yeah, the road is being fixed. The road is being fixed, but it's been raining so heavily these days, and part of what was fixed is now bad again, and it's an endless struggle anyway. But we have.
Be assured that once that road is done, we'll invade your yard.
So your take on Nigeria, Super Eagles, and the World Cup? I know people would just kill me if I don't ask Platini about that, And we hear South Africa may be in trouble. We may have a lifeline thrown at us. With their...
We wanted to gamble, and we didn't get a gambler who was at home. We gambled with an outsider, and our gambling joker was taken outside. Now we have come back to where we are supposed to be. Somebody came and said he will win 6 matches for us and will qualify for the World Cup. A young man. And we all believed him. We went into a big black hole. Now the reality has dawned on us that we are out of it completely. And what people for 12 years. Because if we don't make this World Cup, that's 8 years to qualify for even the one of Morocco, which will become more competitive because African countries now.
Platini, hold your breath. Hold your breath. We have a caller.
They are prepared. Cabo Verde, 560,000 people. They are going to the World Cup. 9 African teams will be going. Yeah, so the competition by 2030, when Morocco, Portugal, and Spain will be hosting, will be more intense. So you're looking at 12 years. And you know what the number 12 means biblically.
Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Yes.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. Who are you and where are you calling from?
We can hear you.
Yeah, my name is Vincent Okumagba. From the Supporters Club.
Okay. That is another problem. Another problem we have to support. Those who support need support.
Does the Supporters Club still exist?
Convert your voice to text and respond to you. If you want to continue, please stay on the call.
Okay, go ahead, Oga Okumagba. Are you still there?
I think the line went off or something.
We have lost him. That's unfortunate. That would have been good to hear his voice. Tell us about what they are doing to help us put Nigerian football back on track.
No, I think there is a silver lining from that sector. I know that the Sports Commission met with some of them, and they came up with a unified position, provisional position on getting to unite, and I think he's the one leading that charge of bringing together all the supporters club as one. There may be one when they go outside, but inside here there can be as many as possible. There was an agreement, an understanding they came to. It would have been good to hear from him.
We have 2 matches to go. 2 matches to go. One.
But you are still talking about the World Cup.
Yes, I'm interested in that one. And
yeah, even with the possibility of South Africa losing 3 points, it doesn't even help us. It doesn't help us. The countries now in the race to overtake South Africa, Rwanda, and
Benin
Republic. They have Rwanda has 11 points like Nigeria. But they will meet the 2 critical leaders. They will meet Benin in the first game. If they win that, they will get to 14 points. Then they will meet South Africa inside South Africa. Nigeria will be meeting Lesotho. Lesotho are out of it. Nigeria will be meeting Benin in the last game. If Benin, with 14 points, beats Rwanda, they will have 17 points. So why would we want to disturb Benin from leading the group to become a World Cup, especially now that we have this kind of esprit de corps? At least Nigeria will be on the map. They will be saying the former Super Eagles coach is leading Benin.
You see, look.
And our neighbors.
Yeah, when you mentioned Benin in those days, those were whipping boys. Throughout my career, I scored a hat-trick only once, and it was against Benin Republic.
It was against Benin.
They were not a team and they still are not. The problem is with us. The problem is with us.
We are just.
How can we have?
Shege, what do you say about the commitment of players these days? People are beginning to talk so much emphasis on administration. Yes, administration, we are still seeking balance like Man United. But then, what do you say of our commitment of players? How many Osimens do we have in our national team today? How many players can look at the goal Calvin Bassey got? I mean, that's the kind of heart, that's the kind of fight. He gave everything to put that ball in there. Even if you had 10 players on the line in that goal that day, he will have headed that ball in with everything. That is the kind of commitment we seen that in this group of players. These same players are the ones who have used in the 2 World Cup campaigns who have failed. So what is missing in this player? You are a player of note. You understand, you've managed them. So what is missing? I've asked myself, don't they understand Nigeria?
I saw glimpses of that commitment in the last match. It was different from every other match, though. That last one they played in South Africa, you could see that there was a lot of effort, more than ever. Not enough, but maybe the commitment is coming. The players only assemble for 2 or 3 days before a game.
They will always assemble like that. So it's a reality we have to accept. The business of the game is taking over. FIFA window will always be like that. So in time, there's not going to be a change. So let's be realistic. All these things camp the boys for long, and except we start building a team at home. South Africa built this team that is giving us headache. That is even leading the group. Forget the ineligible player. It's the same team that came to Nations Cup. We were there together in Boake. You almost didn't watch the penalty kicks.
Yeah.
This same South Africa team. Home base, 95%.
Well, our own home base, our own domestic football here, is it possible the way it is with the huge migration out without funding?
You cannot get any good players in here.
Exactly. So how can you depend on home base?
It goes beyond the game. It goes beyond the game.
So we are, Platini, you and I have had this conversation for almost 1.5 hours now. And I tell you that I can't even come to a conclusion about where we are heading. This conversation this morning is the most unusual I've ever heard on my show, because it has nothing to do with what I planned to discuss this morning. But it's been very, very refreshing, and I want to thank you. And I want you to just leave us with your final thoughts and your final words, and people can make of it what they like at home, because in truth, it is not what I planned. So, Michelle, the stage is yours. Just leave us with your final words. Flowery in your usual language.
No. Keep it simple.
Let us have some poetry.
That's the message you've brought in this show. If anything else, that whatever we try to do in Nigerian sports, we keep it simple so that people can appreciate it, people can identify with it, and people can run with it, and not just run with it in a sustainable fashion and in a profitable fashion, so that at the end of the day, sports will become part of us, and sports will contribute to our GDP. They say it's supposed to be a national asset, especially football. And if it's a national asset, how do we cherish it? How do we manage it? How do we keep it in such shape and form that we'll want to treasure it? Those are some of the elements to take. But beyond all of that is that those who are involved in sports should understand that it goes beyond just play in pidgin. That's what they used to call sports. Sports is not only a business, sports is an enabler to match and meet some of the sustainable development goals which the United Nations have told any nation, if you want to grow, those are the things you need to do. And you can use sports as the catalyst. It's the veritable enabler to change the dimensions of all of this. I am beginning to see a resurrection, standing up again of sports. Good enough, you have a president who has given us what looks like the matchstick.
Yeah.
By saying, go out there, perform. Whatever you do to perform, you'll be appreciated. But then we have to create the environment for people to perform. And that's where the leaders of sports all around must now understand that the task may be difficult, but they can reduce it to a certain simplicity that will enable them achieve maximum results for the benefit of all. Indeed, Nigerian sports today needs to be fully re-evaluated, and then we get into work. The work must start in earnest. And those who have the responsibility to ensure that we work must also appreciate those who over time have done their bit. And we can always rely on them to become the guardian angels, especially when we want to slip off.
Yeah.
And for those football fans, let me say that the lesson is clear. If we cannot go to the World Cup, let us bring our own World Cup at home. And that means make our sports beautiful. Let it be a spectacle that will compete with the best anywhere. And of course, it will be Nigerian. And let's Nigerianize our total management of sports. That way, we know how to measure it. It's my pleasure being here. I appreciate you, Shegun.
Thank you.
As I say, keep the number 7. It's the perfect number.
Thank you, Platini. Thank you. Thank you for appearing on the show this morning. You have educated me seriously. You have inspired me. I have learned from you. I keep learning. You were my editor from 1992 or 1993. You were coaching me to write.
You are making a mistake. 1984, 85.
Yes, you were coaching me to write. Thank you so very much, Platini. Thank you. Anyway, so that's it from us this morning. This is Eagle 7 Sports Radio, 90 minutes with mathematical. I have learned tremendously this morning from this show. Let us make it simple. To run sports does not require rocket science. All of us don't know it. But there are a few people that have the experiences and the vision and, the commitment to do things right. Don't let us complicate it and make it so convoluted. We don't even know where we are going. We don't know where we are coming from, which is the situation we are in now, where everybody is an expert. There's so much going on and nothing is going on. On that note, I encourage you to join us next week, Saturday, when we bring you another wonderful package of 90 Minutes with Mathematical. Platini, bye-bye. Thank you.
Yes.
This is Eagle 7 Sports Radio, 103.7 FM.